Back here in the United States, today marks 1 day since the fatal shooting of Renee Good by a federal agent in Minneapolis, and tensions remain high between ICE agents and local residents, with a growing number of physical altercations being caught on camera, including this one, showing federal agents pulling a woman out of her vehicle as she yells that she's disabled. CBS News Homeland Security correspondent Nicole Sganga joins me now. Nicole, officials tell CBS News first off that the ICE agent who shot Renee Good a week ago suffered internal bleeding. What more have we learned about the scope of his injuries, and do we have any sense of whether he's back on the job or not?
Yeah, Ed, it's been 1 week since the fatal shooting of Renee Good. We know that the ICE agent involved, Jonathan Ross, suffered internal bleeding to the torso, still trying to parse out just how extensive his treatment was in hospital. We do know that he was seen by doctors at a local hospital last Wednesday and released later that day. We also spoke with Commander Gregory Bavino, who's overseeing the Minneapolis mission, who told us that that agent has been receiving threats, is now living in a safe location. It's unclear whether or not he has returned to work either full-time or in an administrative capacity. Typically, ICE agents who are involved in, shootings or high-profile incidents of this nature are placed on leave, or at least administrative leave, taken off the streets pending a review by ICE's Office of Professional Responsibility. But Ed, it's not even clear to us, despite us asking questions about it, whether or not ICE is performing an internal review alongside, of course, the federal investigation that continues to play out, led by the FBI.
Yeah, now in the week since, of course, there have been protests in the streets. There has been an intensification in the deployment of federal personnel. And we're now seeing, especially in the last 24 hours or so, an uptick, at least in footage of physical altercations between people and ICE agents across the city. Do we have some sense of how many of these there have been, where in this vast city of roughly 450,000 people it's happening? Like, is this a constant part of what they're doing? Or is it just so happened that those observing these things are just releasing the videos of the handful that have occurred?
Yeah, Ed, I think both are true. We have seen an increased number of engagements between federal law enforcement and protesters, and people are on edge, and they have been filming and sharing these videos more and more. Now, I can tell you that in conversations with current and former ICE agents, as well as members of U.S. Customs and Border Protection, who are also there en masse, there are now 3,000 agents on the ground in Minneapolis. I'm being told that ICE personnel are being asked to do a different kind of job in the city of Minneapolis and in St. Paul, that they have sort of less training that prepares them for these mass sweeps. Usually ICE and CBP are used to more targeted law enforcement operations. They get in, they get out. What we are seeing play out in the streets of Minneapolis, in residential neighborhoods, but also in gas stations and restaurants, these sort of public displays of force where they might not have an arrest warrant, but instead are trying to sweep to see if they can pick up anyone or interrogate individuals on the street to determine whether or not they are here in the U.S. legally, puts both civilians and law enforcement at risk, because they are riskier operations that, again, these individuals are not trained for, even the ones who have a lot of training. I mean, the ICE agent here, Jonathan Ross, who was involved in last week's fatal shooting, was part of a special response team, had 288 hours of firearm training every year, and still was caught up in that confrontation. We also know that Minneapolis police have been challenged by all of this. In fact, we've learned that Minneapolis has spent over $2 million just in overtime. And keep in mind that federal agents truly outnumber local law enforcement on the ground. Yeah. There are over 3,000 federal agents, but just 600 members of the Minneapolis Police Department, Ed.
And haven't you said that, like, the deployment in Minneapolis is, like, several times more than you'd see in an actual border state like Arizona?
It's true that in a border state like Arizona, you would have maybe 400 HSI agents, Homeland Security investigations, and we're seeing more of that in Minneapolis. But frankly, Ed, this is the largest deployment of DHS agents, not just under the Trump administration, but in history. So this is massive.
All right. Homeland Security. You're not the Homeland Security Secretary. You're the Homeland Security correspondent. Nicole Sganga, thank you so much for joining us with all that. I appreciate it.